What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we we get it in. But before we get it in, let's get this intro in. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate the support. So I was asked to talk about and give my perspective on this whole Cesar Chavez allegation situation that's going on that got people spray painting already over his murals, tearing down Cesar Chavez way, saying Chiruhu way, right? A lot of people are tripping on Cesar Chavez. And I'll tell you guys right now, I have never promoted that man. I have never liked him. I never trusted him, right? I just never felt the need to promote that man's get down based upon his derogatory statements and things that he used to say against the Mexicano community. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it is already out there. The receipts have already been shown, and it is known that Cesar Chavez on many occasions referred to paisas, Mexicanos, Mexican nationals as wetbacks, man. Okay, I could say that I'm brown, and that's just straight up. And for that right there, fuck him. Okay, I never pushed that Cesar Chavez movement, that United Farm Workers thing that he allegedly claims to have started. Look, I'm a firm believer in the United Farm Workers of America getting everything that they got coming. I have worked in the farms, in the tomatoes, you know what I'm saying? The almonds, the peaches. I did all that. You know, as a young Chicano growing up in Northern California, that is a job that is out there, that is easy to get. And I think all of us have picked at one point in time, right? But that man right there is a despicable human being for treating others unequal. You can't say that he fought for civil rights and equality when he believed one form or fashion of ethnicity was lesser than the Chicano movement. For that, I don't support it, right? So I've never have liked Cesar Chavez. I've never been one to boast and brag. You know, let's get to the Huelga bird, the strike bird, the history of the strike bird. That bird was created by Cesar Chavez's brother, right? Was created to show unity amongst the people and a symbolism of strike. If you understand what I'm talking about, when Cesar Chavez was leading the civil rights movement and the strike by farm workers for equal pay, for equality, right? They needed something to join them in unity, a flag. And Cesar Chavez's brother came up with the strike bird, right? A bird being showing you the levels of coming together, the foundation, the strive, the victory. And yes, Norteños, gang members did adapt the Huelga bird into their thing, but it's something totally different. It just shows unity. It shows equality. It shows the fight for social status of equality. And that's why the Norteños rock it. And the colors red, black, and white didn't hurt that movement either, right? Now, when that flag was first introduced, because there's a lot of people tripping, they're saying, oh, Norteños are promoting Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez is this and that, all based off of hearsay and accusations. And we're going to get to that right now and how I feel about all that. But no, the Cesar Chavez UFW, United Farm Workers movement, has nothing to do with the Norteño movement. Two totally different things. One was built to, or allegedly built to, bring all people up for equal rights in farm working, where the other one was just to show that Northerners, considered farmeros being from the farmlands up north, were together in unison, striving against the oppositions, which were Southerners at the time. Now, when that flag was created, Cesar Chavez's brother got a lot of criticism for it because that flag did resemble, in coloring, in the way it was created, the Nazi flag. And at that time, there was a lot of people critiquing it, but he was able to overcome that, and they were able to fly that flag. Now, has Cesar Chavez did a lot of good for people? Obviously. Farm workers nowadays make a righteous pay. They still don't get paid like they should. But there, you don't have to work fucking 15, 20 hours a day. You know, there was a lot of things that were accomplished, but there was a lot of things that was happening behind the scenes when it comes to the Mexicano communities and the way Cesar Chavez was rocking. He did not support Mexicans. He only supported Mexican Americans, right? And even myself being a Mexican Americans, I don't believe in that. I believe in supporting and being there for anyone raza descent, anyone that's brown, Puerto Ricans, Mexicanos, Salvadorians, Hondurans, Guatemalteco, anything that you are, if you're brown to me, and it's all the same. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of where my people come from. But there is no way I'm going to let one man with an agenda tear that down based upon his philosophies and bask in the ambience and the glory of being a savior towards the brown community, because he was not a savior for the brown community. He was a savior for a selective few of the brown community. Now, all these allegations have come out on Cesar Chavez. You know, allegations that he was doing assaultive behavior towards women of an SA nature, okay? And even Dolores Huerta, who is back in the days one of the founders of the UFW movement, right? And who is continuing to create and continue that legacy, has come out saying that she herself was assaulted and raped by Cesar Chavez himself on a couple of occasions, resulting in 2 children. Okay, all of a sudden. Okay, and I don't say that to deny what she's saying. Any woman who speaks on it, I get it. I understand people like to leave things that they're ashamed of, or things, incidences that happen in their life that they tend to try to forget in the past. And now with this situation going on, it's going to bring everything that's boiling is going to bubble over, and you're going to see a lot of victims come out of the woodworks, right? Now, that doesn't mean to say they're slandering this man. I'm a firm believer, if it's said by more than 3 or 4 people, there's probably some truth to it in some form or fashion, right? So with Cesar Chavez being who he is, having a national holiday, having streets named after him, schools named after him, city halls named after him, youth camps named after him. I mean, everything and anything you could think of. There's not a city in Northern California and Southern California that you can't go to that doesn't have a Cesar Chavez Boulevard or Cesar Chavez Avenue or way. I mean, this man gets a lot of respect, even though I don't believe that he deserved it in the first place, being the derogatory and the racial slurs that he did spew from his fucking mouth, right? But who am I? I'm just a Chicano that doesn't support one guy because of what he believes in, okay? I'm not the greatest of guys either. I tore my community up. I destroyed lives. I destroyed families. I destroyed other brown people. So I did pretty much what Cesar Chavez did without being vocal about it. I used these and that instead of that, right? But I still, as a person, as I stand here, can't believe that he felt the way he felt against fellow Mexicans. Okay, it's not a good thing. Even though I fought fellow Mexicans and I strived against fellow Mexicans, I could basically say, man, I stood my ground. And when I realized what was right and what was wrong, I stood on that. Okay, Cesar Chavez was very vocal about his independence from Mexican nationals and not observing their rights to be equal to what he was trying to push. And he wasn't for them, right? Now, all this SA stuff that's coming out of the woodworks, this is not the first time it's been done to a civil rights leader. It's the same thing happened to Martin Luther King. The same thing happened to the Black Panther Party. The same thing happened to a lot of men of power. It seems like a lot of men of power always get thrown under the bus or always get accused of these types of situations. Kobe Bryant did, Tupac did, so many others, right? When you have or are in a position of power and a lot of people look up to you and you have a loud voice or a large platform, there's going to be people that come out and try to slander your character. And what they're trying to do to Cesar Chavez right now as we speak is tear down his history. Now, he does have a deep, rich history. No one can deny that. He did do a lot of good while doing a lot of bad. But if he did do that to Dolores Huerta, who was one of his closest confidants, who was one of his ride or dies, who helped build the movement with them, if she is now saying it, I don't deny her truth. That's her truth. A lot of people say it's damage control. Well, because so many people are feeling the way they're feeling and jumping the gun about Cesar Chavez with just accusation. There's no receipts. There's no proof yet other than what women are saying, right? people are painting over his murals. They're tearing down his streets. They're changing the names. Like, I've never seen people jump the gun this fast on just accusations, right? Now, if there's proof, and I'm sure things will be put out there, obviously the UFW has distanced themselves from the history and from the name of Cesar Chavez. They obviously have receipts or have seen something that makes them believe, hey, this guy is bad, right? Now, Dolores Huerta, having been allegedly assaulted by this man years ago, she already knew this. Why was this swept under the rug? Why did she not come forward sooner? There could be a number of reasons. One, she put the movement ahead of her own self, knowing the damage that this type of controversy and conspiracy would do to her movement. She cared that much about the people and was a true and firm believer in what she was doing, that she put her own feelings, her own emotions, her own self on the back burner so that way she could further this movement. Or two, it never happened, right? I'm not here to protect this man because, like I said, I cannot stand him. If he was still living, I would have a lot to say to him directly. But one thing I can say for sure is it seems like now that everyone has turned against him, now everyone's turning against him. Okay? I'm not one to jump the gun and to say that someone did something just because they're accused of it. I like to see how it all plays out. I like to see the receipts just like everyone else. I like to see the accusers being named and see the accusers and see how they feel and why they are just now saying it. I mean, years and years after this man's passed and 30, 40, 50, 60 years after this movement started. You know, I understand the UFW because they are a big organization, distancing themselves from these type of accusations. But he was once a leader in that community. He's a founding father of that group. So anytime one of your founders has smut on his name, it is definitely indirectly or directly going to affect that group. That's just how it is. So in my own personal opinion of how I feel about Cesar Chavez, I don't like the man. I wouldn't put it past a narcissist, a racial individual that is accused of these crimes to be actually guilty of these crimes. But I'm not going to say that he did without a burden of proof, right? I'm not going to say, and I think people are definitely jumping the gun on painting over murals. You know, he was supposed to have every 31st of March is the national holiday Cesar Chavez Day, where people have parades, they promote unity, they go out there, and all those have been shut down. You know, people are definitely distancing themselves. And I get it, man, with all that's going on in this world, with them files going on, with people accusing our president, with people accusing all these different Hollywood actors of certain things, certain criminal acts, monstrous acts, cannibalism, all these different things. I could see the brown people that are very prideful people saying, oh, no, not one of us. Well, look, man, that type of behavior and action comes in all form or fashion, shapes, sizes, colors, creeds, and religions, man. Unfortunately, yes, man, he was a brown man, but he wasn't a great brown man. He was a brown man that did some great things, but he also did a lot of bad things. And if he did do this, he does need to be erased from the history book. That means everything he did after that point of assaulting these women, these minors, these people, man, doesn't mean shit because he didn't do it for a good cause. He did it to maintain his superiority over people and to be put in that position of power where he could achieve and do these things and accumulate victims. See, that's what a lot of people of power do. They have so much power. Look at Wes Watson's, for instance. He had so much power over these women that they would let him get away with a lot. This is the type of people that usually are in position to do these types of things because they utilize good for bad. So as far as what I feel about Cesar Chavez, I could care less about him, period. I just know what type of person he was. If he truly did everything they're saying he did, and look, I believe Dolores Huerta. I don't believe she's a shady woman. I believe the reason she didn't come out sooner, because I know a lot of people are questioning if she's genuine and what she's saying. I believe she just cared more about the people around her, the movement, the business that they created, the legacy of the business that they created, and the good that it's done, to put her own emotions and her own stories in the back burner. If this man did father 2 children with her while she was a minor, I'm not going to sit here and be one of those guys that say, oh, that's how it was back in the days. No, that's not how it's been ever. Anyone who does that is a sick human being with a fucking problem and an issue, man. And just because he did some good for a few brown people and some Asian people and some black people don't mean shit to me. right? If you touch a kid, all that good shit you did goes out the motherfucking window. That's just how I feel about the situation. But I'm not going to jump the gun and say these accusations are true, because right now everything is alleged. But the people that are going crazy, shutting down his holidays, painting over murals, tearing down the street signs, I mean, calm down, relax. You know, it's a bad and it's a tricky situation. It's unfortunate, man, that brown people and what we're going through right now as being brown, you know, the deportations, the ICE movement, all this shit. It just seems like, man, when it rains, it pours. Right now, one of the heroes of the brown people of the raza, man, is being defecated on, is being drugged through the mud, is being accused of some pretty heinous crimes. But the key word there is accused. Okay, a lot of people can make accusations. I get accusations made about me all the time. I'm a liar, I'm a rat, I'm a fake, I'm a punk, man. And I'm here to tell you, I could tell you guys from the top of the fucking mountain as loud as I can scream it, I'm not. But people are still going to believe it. So before you go spreading propaganda on just things you see on social media or on news, take a look at it. Do your history. Understand what's going on, man. And people have even turned this into a North and South thing. I've seen several guys from Southern California saying, the Norteños support Cesar Chavez. They're part of that movement. Cesar Chavez's movement had zero at all to do with Norteños. At all, man. You know, there were some similarities in symbolisms, but that's about as far as it goes. And I'm not defending the Norteño movement, but I will say I once was one, and I know what the history is. So with that being said, my take on Cesar Chavez is these allegations are definitely going to play a part in his history. These allegations could ruin a legacy that he created. But if he did take part in this stuff, if he did do this, fuck him, and he deserves everything he gets. Me, for one, have never been a supporter, like I said. So it's going to not hurt me either way. I don't support that motherfucker. If I'm in a city that says Cesar Chavez way, I take the next street over. That's how much I don't fuck with him, man. Anytime someone says something derogatory towards his own race of people, his own ethnicity, to me, he's fucking fake, fraudulent, and a piece of shit. And that's just how I feel. Now, as far as these SA allegations go, I don't really have nothing to say. I do believe that Dolores Huerta is not a liar. I do believe that if she says something, she really means it. And I do believe that people that are going in on her for not saying something sooner do not understand business, do not understand heart, do not understand that when a woman bad things are done to her as a child, man, she might suppress a lot of the memories, and some of these accusations might have woke her up to saying, you know what, now I could tell my truths. Now I don't have to live with that bearer of burden that I've been living with. I'm just happy that she did speak on that, because that's definitely going to help her. And if it did truly help into her, I'm so sorry, man, that a man in that type of position that's allegedly supporting the raza could even think or consider himself to be a man after what he did. It's unfortunate. Anyways, that's my perspective on it. That's what I think. We're going to get into the supers later on. I know you guys come to this channel for the comedy. This is just a real one. Sometimes you have to just speak on some real shit. People ask me. That's how I feel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And if he did that shit, a big thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. Weirdos are fucking weird, right?